Hi. I feel like we've been here before. In this room. Oh yeah, I'm batch filming. Y'all, you know me. Okay, so let's kind of talk about what we did this year for our history. You know, I kind of pulled together different books. This is just going to be things that we did as a family. This is not going to be the individual books that they did on their own. There's a lot more there, and I don't think I ever did a video on that. My son is still working through the first book that I gave him because he's not really interested in it, which was The Golden Goblet. He just really isn't into it. But he did pick up on his own volition The Robe by somebody, Douglas, I can't remember, or Douglas somebody. Lloyd? Something, yeah. Anyway, he picked that up on his own and he's reading that, and I'm letting him, and it's going to take him some time because that's like high school level reading in my book. But we started with Ancients and we did Story of the World. My typical cycles for history, and this is going to have to change just because of how I got to this point and realized, oh, this isn't going to work out the way I thought it. I typically have 2 6-year cycles. So we start off with Ancients, and then we move into Medieval, and then we move into American history, and it worked out for the 2 age groups that this would work well, theoretically. Until we got to my daughter, who started ancient history again, and I realized this is her last year doing ancients. Like, there's some things I want us to cover, and she's not ready for that. So it all backfired on me. So we're in the middle of picking up, and I really need to get this filmed because some of these books I have promised to other people. So you're gonna get real life. So Ancients, these are what we have done, and I'm also going to show you what I had tried to fit in, just didn't make it, but they're good resources. So if you've read a couple of these and you're still looking for something new, maybe it would work. So this is our spine Story of the World. Typically you read one and it's divided into 2 sections, and then you narrate it. I did a video on this. I'll leave it linked down below. So this was our spine. We are at the end of our homeschool year, and we've still got about a third left to do. So that's interesting for you. Okay, so among the many of the books that we covered, I know I had more. They're gone. I don't even remember what they were. That's how relevant they were to our homeschool. We did a King Tut. Yeah, okay. All right, that's all I can remember. But I have World Mythology for Children. This is by Sarah Cook. She is the daughter of our schooling, who does a Charlotte Mason from a secular point of view. And so this is what her daughter did. And it was really interesting. I think it was made for younger children, and I probably should have given it to my older children. So that, I really liked having that. It really helped when we had our biblical history, which, by the way, this was a key thing in our biblical history. It's someone a Bible that can pronounce all the Old Testament names. I think this really helped understand different cultures within our biblical history, and that's what I really appreciated about that. We also had a Cleopatra, who was Queen of Egypt. We had Hatshepsut, who was the girl pharaoh, and those were our really short and easy read-alouds. The longer read-alouds that we had, we first did Shengli, which is the Silk Road Caravan. I did this first rather than towards the end, mainly because I had wanted a student to get to listen to it. It's a student that I teach. He's not part of our family, and we were moving away, so I did this at the beginning. So this is kind of like the Silk Road, ancient China, not ancient Egypt, ancient China, and we really enjoyed it. It was fun. Kids couldn't wait to read more of that, so that was a win. Then we went into The Bronze Bow by Elizabeth George Spear. Phenomenal book. I really liked this. Elizabeth George Spear has not written anything I do not like. Let me kind of go back to this for a little bit because I did want to get a little bit more into this, because I know it can be a little unnerving picking up books that you really don't know too much about, especially if you're from a Christian perspective. Insofar as this, Shang Li father ended up dying, and then his mother died, and then he ends up kind of like this indentured, I don't remember the name of it, but he works for somebody. And he hears about a caravan. Now, his father used to travel these caravans, and he wants to go on it, and he wants to figure out who his father was and what significance he has to his name with his father. That didn't make sense. Sorry, kids. Moving on. So he gets onto the caravan, and there's somebody like a big brother that kind of takes him under his wing. Well, the big brother isn't a good influence.
I finished that. I read it.
Yes. So can you be quiet while I'm working on this? So Big Brother can either, he's not a good influence, and Shang Li has to deal with some difficult situations where it's like, do I defend my name, or do I put myself in danger because of this? So some things like that, and I think that made it really intriguing for the guys. There is a China princess in here who's being taken to her new person she's marrying. Can't think of the name. And some servants with that. You've got some robbers that go on the trail, so you kind of see the dangers of the Silk Road journey. You get to experience what happened when they went to some of the bigger cities and things like that. I do not remember anything objectionable in this whatsoever. At all. The bronze bow has a very Christian perspective because this is during the time of Christ. And they are waiting for the Messiah to come and rescue them from Rome. And Daniel, who is our main protagonist, our main character in here, he starts off with this band of thieves. I'm going to call them, I'll call a spade, but they're like good thieves because they're really just preparing this army to invade Rome. And Daniel's with them, and he's going to fight with them, and he is very supportive of what this leader is trying to accomplish. Well, then he gets kind of tangled into another family from his hometown, and then he ends up having to go back to his hometown to help take care of his sister, who is demon possessed, and that was handled very well in here. I thought that was beautifully handled, by the way. And basically Daniel starts questioning everything he's ever believed in, and Christ comes in and he's not what everybody pictured. And so there is that beautiful story in here. It's a beautiful I guess finding yourself is what I would call it, that kind of story. And you have some of Daniel's tempers and what he's working through and dealing with. And I thought that was really good for my older ones that I know kind of deal with something similar. So this was a phenomenal read. It was 5-star. Everybody loved the bronze bow, and that was amazing. The one we're currently working on right now is Hittite Warrior by Joanne Williamson, and she wrote a couple other ones. One has to do with Nehemiah, and I really would like to own that book one day. Nehemiah is one of my favorite characters from the Bible, so I kind of want this whole experience from that. But this one's really good to read after you have like a biblical foundation, so to speak. So we're in the book of Ezra right now, so we have gone through the Kings and the Chronicles and all of that. So this has a little bit more meaning insofar as what's kind of going on. And so far the kids are really, really enjoying it. We're not that far in. I have previously read this, and I think I even did a review for you, so you might recognize it. But I really liked how it was presented, how you get some of these biblical characters within the story, but you're not like rewriting their story to fit this one story, which is what a lot of people do with biblical retellings, and it really bothers me. But this one was done very well. Similar along the lines of the bronze bow. Jesus is portrayed in here, and I wasn't sure how I was going to handle some of that. There was some liberties taken that is not in scripture that I did struggle a little bit with. Just the character of Jesus, like, we do not know what he is going through. She did a good job in trying to show a outward view rather than what like he's thinking and feeling. But when he was talking to Daniel, like, there is no record of this in the Bible, but she did a good job in using biblical scripture to basically ask these questions of Daniel. So it was handled well. It is not word for word found in scripture, which makes it a little bit difficult for me, but I think it was very, very well done, and I don't normally say stuff like that. So just all that aside, and then Hittite Warrior, I know they are going to really like that, and I think it kind of goes along with Shang Li of ancient China. They have a very similar story in the sense that their father died. Actually, all three. Their father had died from like barbarians and people invading, because that's what they do a lot in ancient times. It's all about conquering this and that. Interesting how here we are today. But so you just get a lot of similar stories, but told in different points of view. And so that was interesting. But in Story of the World, wherever I put that, we're going to get into, I think it's like the last couple chapters, or the last chapter. We're going to get to Attila the Hun. And so one of the ones that I have planned, probably just for my older ones because it is a little difficult read, is The White Stag by Kate Cerity. This was done phenomenally. It won the Newbery Honor in 1930-something. 1937. And it's really well done. It took, what Kate Cerity did is she took like this little blurb within her history book and then tried to spin this tale as basically how it would have been passed down by folklore. So I will probably do that with my olders. What we're not going to get to is what I will share with you here, but they're definitely worthwhile resources. I might even try to just get them in. There's nothing wrong with them. Like we have the String, Straight Edge, and Shadows, the Story of Geometry. This would be a really good one to kind of bring in math. And it just shows ancient times and the tools they had, and it would be like a good geography type of thing. So what we didn't get to is mainly our geography books. So, maybe we'll just do a unit study, which is not necessarily Charlotte Mason, but just kind of focus on some of this geography stuff. But there is, this engrossing book reveals how the discoveries were made and shows how they were related to early civilization of Mesopotamia, Egypt, and Greece. So we have pretty big ancient things here, ancient civilizations. So I really would like to try to get to that. And these two other ones, they are very popular books, and there's so much to cover. There's so much to cover. And then we threw in moving and trying to find a house and all that in here. The first one we have is City, the Story of the Roman Planning and Construction by David McCulley. This is a great resource. And I also have Pyramid by the same author, and I would really like to get to these. So basically the things we didn't get to, I'm going to make sure that we have time and make sure that we actually do it. So anyway, I just wanted to share this with you. I will try to leave everything linked down below so you can go and check it out. I use Amazon affiliate links because it just helps our family. How this works is anything that you purchase within a 24-hour period after clicking my specific affiliate link, I got a percentage on. So it was really helpful to our homeschool. And so that's why I share those, but I really recommend checking out Thrift books. If you're not using Thrift books, I will leave a referral link to that down below, but also from, I think it's Better World Books. So you want to go check those out. They'll be linked down below. I think there's also a referral for that. Anyway, they're just different ways that you can buy secondhand, save some money, help the planet, help me, your YouTuber, kind of purchase things for our own homeschool. So I really hope this video helped one of you out there. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Names have failed me. I have done too many videos today.